So after the noun, let's come to the verb and its morphology. The verb, okay, what can we say about that? And let's start here. What we see is there are many different endings. So remember in nouns, you had loads of endings. It was similar in the verb, but most endings have disappeared the last 500-600 years, or they were harmonized, which means, they coalesced. Different endings became one. There's one example here. In Old English, you had end and ing, both denoting, among others, the present participle, and they're coalesced to ing. All right, here we go. We'll come to that. But most of all, what about the third person singular, which you still have in the present tense? So why was it retained? And probably this is not the right question. All right, why was it retained? We have to ask, why were all the others lost? Because, this is the situation we have in Old English. Yeah, it's driveth, thou drivest, he driveth, we driveth, ye driveth, he driveth. Okay, endings, present tense, indicative. So the subjunctive is the following. Yeah, drive, 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 driven, driven, only two endings. Okay, and this is probably the key to understanding what happened. Because if you compare those two, you see that those which I marked blue, in blue, they disappeared. Okay, they disappeared. So through drivest, Shakespeare could have still said that, thou goest, or something like this, but this has disappeared entirely in colloquial speech, of course. And this driveth completely. We don't have that anymore. And the question is, why did it come about? And my answer is, which I find convincing, is that if we look at the plural, there seems to have been a mix-up. Since the subjunctive became obsolete, we only have some remnants of the subjunctive, but it's completely unmarked. The subjunctive here, driven, driven, driven. Okay, we can work with that. But we driveth, come on. The interdental fricative th is one of the most stable sounds in the English language, and it just doesn't disappear like that. It's much more likely that it was substituted, that the subjunctive became the norm, because from we driven to we drive, and then later on we drive, this is not a long shot. This happens all the time, The n, the nasal, disappears, always does. It's very unstable, as is the schwa, of course, And it's my contention that what actually happened is that we use the subjunctive today as a norm, and it's much easier to pronounce, of course, if we say we driven, drivath. You have to move your tongue a lot, and you remember, we are a lazy bunch, so we don't want to do that. Here we go. The singular, same thing, through driveth, ye drive, but this is the second person plural, okay? So what happened is that the second person singular was altogether lost, completely lost, and substituted with the second person plural. Ye, in Old English spelled with a G, today with a Y, or later on with a Y, and then U, and so on. Ye drive. So what probably happened, I cannot prove it, that the subjunctive plural became the norm. Later on, the second person singular was lost altogether and substituted with a second person plural. This actually happened, we know that, of course, But, of course, we will talk about this later on in detail, second person singular and plural, and the mix-up and so on, when we come to the pronouns, okay? So stay tuned. Okay, so here's that, But then you remember I said that the second, we go back, the second person, the third person singular, if you go here, he driveth, it is an interdental fricative, or what you call the th. We don't have that today. We don't say he loveth, and he liketh, and he moveth, and he talketh, or something like that. We don't say that anymore. We say he, she loves, likes, moves, talks. Okay, so what we have to know is very simple. I mean that there were two varieties concerning the morpheme. So the interdental variety, th, the th, you may call it, is Southern English, Southern Middle English, if you like, and loves, likes, moves, and talks. The mere palatal fricative is the Northern English variety. Okay, and what we do today is we use the Northern English phoneme, okay, or morpheme, morpheme, s, th, s, Northern. We use that one, and you can see this in Henry VIII, for example. He is still very consistent, I mean, only using the th in his love letters to Anne Boleyn and so on. One more thing, I mean, in Shakespeare still could use both. Yeah, Shakespeare could still say she liketh and she likes. I mean, he uses both, both endings, the Northern and the Southern English variety. It depends on how many syllables he needs for his meter. Okay, if he needs 2 syllables for his meter, that the meter fits, he says she liketh, because liketh, 2 syllables, and if he only needs 1, he writes she likes, and has only 1 syllable. Okay, here you see. Bottom line is, I mean, the reason why, of course, the Northern English variety became the standard is it's easier to pronounce. It's easier to pronounce. She likes than she liketh. Okay, all right. That's certainly the cause. Why is there no S in modal verbs? I mean, we could talk about this. I mean, modal verbs, I mean, you cannot say he, she cans. I mean, you don't do that. And the same is true for all the other modal verbs we have here. Could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, ought. No third person singular S. Not that. I mean, we don't have that. So why is it? And there's a simple explanation. Well, I don't know whether it's simple, but there is an explanation for that. And this has to do with this here. Preterite present verbs. It's taken over from the German. Use a lot of Latin. It's preteritur presentia. Okay, this is the Latin thing. What is it? This is verbs that go back to the preterite tense of strong verbs. There's an E missing, but never mind. So basically what it is, preteritur presentia, these are verbs that have a present tense meaning, okay, but a past tense form, preterite form, if you like. Present tense meaning, past tense form. And this is true for most of the modal verbs. I mean, if you look at that, can, yes, actually meant originally, far back, something like I have learned. Okay, I've learned in the past. Right. And then this was interpreted, or later on got a present tense meaning, I can. I can. I know I can do it now. Okay, because I have learned. So the original was, yes, something like this. I have learned, which then became something like a present tense, got a present tense meaning, but still has its past tense form. And now, there is no third person singular S in the past tense. Okay, so we still have past tense form. May, don't say he mays. Must, don't say he musts. past tense forms, and they have a present tense meaning. So it's not only the S is missing, they don't have an infinitive. To can, to may doesn't exist. To must, something like this. And of course, this is true for the past tense as well. By the way, a wit is another one, which is obsolete. But to wit, he wits. No, I mean, still no. It was still used probably in legal context or something like this, which has, of course, disappeared from regular use. But wit, as know, same thing, because it originally means I've learned, I have experienced something like this, and I wit. Which also I could have still said that. I know, to wit. I mean, you still have this in court or something like that. Okay, has died out. It's still very strong in German, where it is a preterite present in German. Ich weiß. Er weiß. Okay, for those of you who know German, it's there. We have the same thing, by the way, in German as you have in English. We will come to that in the next episode. Okay. We come to irregular verbs. Okay, so thanks for listening, and we'll take it from here.